Hello everyone. Hello everybody. Welcome. All right. I hope everybody is doing awesome wherever you are joining us from. Yeah, wherever you are joining me from this wonderful day. Good afternoon, good evening. All right. We're live right now on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. Okay, I think we are also live on Instagram. Okay, yes. Okay, yes. We're checking the Instagram live right now just to be sure we are connected. If you can hear me on Instagram, can you just let me know? Can you say hi? Can you just say hello? Okay, let me just put a tab on Instagram. There you go. We're going to get started right away. We're going to get started right away. It's going to be a great time with you today. It's going to be a fantastic moment looking into leadership, and leadership. All right. All right. Let's go. Okay. So let's get started. How is everybody doing this wonderful day? Thank you for joining me live today. It's going to be a great time together. All right. So, welcome and welcome once again. My name is Wale Adekanla. I am an executive coach and a leadership consultant. And today we're going to be looking into lead and scale. Lead and scale. So, thank you for joining me today. Wherever you are joining me from, I believe this session is going to transform your leadership. This session is going to help you to become a better person. All right. I am excited to share insights from my upcoming book. All right. Lead and Scale. Lead and Scale. So today, I am going to dive into a few powerful principles that form the foundation of this book. Okay, so if you have any questions, I would encourage you to share your questions. Let me know if you have any questions. All right, just start writing down those questions so that I can get into them before we end today's session. Because I'm going to be addressing some pain points, all right? Some leadership pain points, and that could be personal pain points, team leadership pain points, organizational leadership pain points. So let's start by addressing a common pain point for leaders. All right, this is a common pain point. Working with leaders, coaching leaders, and working alongside and supporting organizations. I have discovered that most leaders are asking this question. It's an important pain point. Um, how do I make an impact that goes beyond just managing day-to-day tasks? This is an important question that most leaders ask, because if a leader does not understand the difference between business operation and business ownership, this question would always, it will always be a great one. And my answer is rooted in the understanding that leadership is influence. Okay? Leadership is influence. John C. Maxwell once said that leadership is not about title, positions, or flow charts, right? It's not about that. It's all about one life influencing another. It's all about you influencing me. It's all about me influencing you. Okay. Have you ever tried to um, convince someone before to do something? Or have you observed before that someone started something because you started first? Okay. That is influence. If someone can start something because uh, they've learned it or they've been inspired by someone else or through a source, that is influence. And that is why leadership is influence. In fact, I like the way John C. Maxwell put it. He said, nothing more, nothing else. So, in principle, if you look at these three words, leadership is influence, you will realize that leadership isn't just a role or skill, it's everything. It's everything because we are all influencing ourselves. Whether you are aware of it or not, you are influencing someone, and someone is also influencing you. Okay, so influence could be negative or positive, and that is why I love to talk about scalable leadership. Scalable leadership, because who you are is what you are going to scale. All right. Some leaders are not scalable. They are not scalable. If you try to scale them, you will scale something that would destroy the organization. And today, I want us to focus on true leadership and great leadership that can transform any system, because leadership is what determines how we connect with people, how we push through challenges, and how we inspire change. Okay? How we connect with people, how we push through challenges, and how we inspire change. So, without effective leadership, even the best ideas cannot take off. No matter how beautiful the idea is, if we don't have effective leadership, the idea cannot take off. Have you ever found yourself in an environment where people have great ideas, where people have great, suggestions, where people have, a lot of experiences, and because of bad leadership, because of an environment where people cannot express themselves and people are afraid to talk, right? That kind of environment, no matter how beautiful the ideas are, they cannot fly. So let's start today with that statement: leadership is influence and everything. Okay? Leadership is influence and everything. Here is one thing that I'm going to say here. And if you're watching me right now, if you're a leader of a team or you are leading an organization, I have a question for you. And this question is an important one. Please don't miss this. Okay. One of the biggest pain points that I've seen, for leaders today is maintaining influence in a fast-paced world. Maintaining influence in a fast fast-paced world. And here is the question. Now, I mean, how do you keep people engaged and inspired when there is so much change happening, when things are changing rapidly, and before you know it, things are already changing, and you need to quickly adapt and look for ways to to be aligned with the change so that you don't be behind. Okay, how can you get people engaged and inspired in this kind of environment? And this is why I say leadership is everything. Because as a leader, if you cannot and keep people engaged, and if you cannot get people inspired, for sure you cannot experience the kind of environment and the kind of results that you desire as a leader. Why? Because everything rises and falls on leadership. Everything. So when leaders succeed, they bring others with them. Okay? When leaders succeed, they bring others with them. And when leaders fail to lead with vision, with values, with integrity, the entire structure suffers. The entire structure suffers. And here is another pain point. I have heard many leaders ask this question, that how do I become the kind of leader who not only set goals but achieves meaningful growth? Okay, remember, leadership is influence and leadership is everything. Okay, and I also want to quickly put this out there, and I think this is very important. John Maxwell also, made a statement. He said, "A leader is the one who knows the way, who goes the way, and shows the way." Recently I was having a conversation with a leader of an organization, and I told him, I said, "See, when trust is absent, leadership is cancelled. When trust is absent, leadership is cancelled." Remember the quote. A leader is the one who knows the way, who goes the way, and who shows the way. So, effective leadership is about bringing people along on the journey. You know the way, you go the way first, and then you show others the way. It's about lifting people up. It's about showing them their potentials and guiding them to where they need to be, guiding people to where they need to be. So it's influence. And more than that, leadership is service. Leadership is influence. And more than that, leadership is service. All right? Leadership is influence. And more than that, leadership is service. Okay. I think there is an issue with connection on Instagram. Let's quickly check that to make sure we are connected right here. I think we got disconnected on Instagram. There you go. So let me quickly resolve that. Um, okay, live. All right, I'm just trying to make sure we have this active on Instagram before we continue. Okay. So let's continue. Someone is helping to check that. Like I said, the leadership is influence and leadership is everything. Okay. So let's quickly get into one of the most important frameworks that I developed, and I would love to talk about that in this live session. In my research, I have discovered so much about how to not just lead yourself, but to lead others. So in my research and the development of the scalable leadership framework, I saw that leaders grow in levels, and this is how we expand our influence. We all grow in levels. So not only by leading ourselves, but by leading others as well, and eventually leading at the organizational level and the enterprise level. So one thing I want you to understand today is leaders grow in levels. So let's talk about the first level, because there are 5 powerful levels in my scalable leadership framework. 5 levels. Number one is lead yourself. Lead yourself. Lead yourself. See, in this in this framework and at this level, leading yourself is foundational, because this is where all effective leadership begins. Leading yourself. And here is the pain point at this level. If you cannot lead yourself, how can you expect to lead others? If you cannot lead you, how can you lead others? Because self leadership is so much essential, because before we can effectively lead others, we must first build ourselves and lead ourselves. So, how can you build you and lead you? There are many factors that we need to consider in first building yourself and leading yourself. You need to build discipline. You need to build self awareness, because you need to know you. All right. You need to be aware of yourself. You need to be aware of your strengths, of your weaknesses. You need to be aware of your blind spots. You need to be aware of things that you are not good at. Okay. You need to be aware of the opportunities that you have. You need to also build accountability in yourself. All right, accountability, awareness, discipline. You need to have a growth plan, and that's one of the strategies. So I'm going to get into that later if we have time for that today. And another challenge that I've seen leaders face here at this level, leading yourself, is setting a personal example. Uh, think about think about it. How many times have we seen leaders who tell others to work hard, but they don't put in the same effort? They are encouraging people to work hard. They are challenging people. They are giving works to people. They are just appointing jobs to people, and they are not really working hard. Okay, or leaders who preach integrity, but their actions tell a different story. When you see them in action after preaching integrity, many times you will wonder, like, hold on, if you put the words of the leader with the action of the leader, you will feel disappointed, because this inconsistency erodes trust. And remember, like I said, without trust, leadership is cancelled, because trust and respect are two major factors. They are foundational in leadership. So, self leadership is about integrity. Very key, very, very key. About integrity is about walking the talk, setting the standard and living the values you expect from others, from your team, from your leadership team, from everyone across the organization. So when it comes to level one, there are three major factors that are very important here. In fact, I will give you the fourth one. Number one is self-awareness. You need to know your strengths. You need to know your weaknesses. You need to know your values. You need to understand your motivations. And see, self-aware leaders know where they need to grow, and they are always willing to work on it. They know where they need to grow, and they are always willing to work on it. If a leader is not self-aware, trust me, the leader cannot be committed to growth, because you wouldn't know your strengths, you wouldn't know your weaknesses, you wouldn't know your blind spot, you wouldn't know where you actually need the help of others, and that affects the growth of everyone. Because when the leader does not grow, everyone in the team or across the organization suffers. It affects everyone. Number two, discipline. Leaders often struggle with prioritizing their own growth. You know, they they are always focused on working in the organization, not working on the organization because of the day-to-day pressures, right? So discipline helps you as a leader to stay focused, because it is not about staying busy, it is all about staying focused on your goals. Managing your life, leading your life, and investing in your personal development. Very key. So, number one, integrity. Number two, discipline. Number three, I will give you number three, accountability, because holding yourself accountable for your actions is very, very key. Not just our intentions, but holding ourselves accountable as leaders is very key. So it's easy to get stuck in a circle, of I will do it later, right? Very easy to get stuck in that circle. Most people get stuck in that circle. But true self leadership is about honing your commitment. Your A is A and your B is B. So when you lead yourself effectively, you can create a foundation of trust with your team, with your people, with everyone within your organization. When you lead yourself effectively, you can create trust. If you don't lead yourself effectively, people won't trust you because they are watching. Remember, you are in the front and they are watching. They know you are someone who walks the path, who walks the talk before asking others to join. They know that you know the way, you go the way, and you show the way. You wouldn't ask people to go the way when you don't go the way. So because you walk the talk, then you ask others to join you on the journey. This brings to mind, one of the key quotes that I can never forget. Um, the quote says, it says, true leadership isn't found in perfect scores. It is discovered in wisdom of those who have learned from both success and failures. Some leaders have success stories, a lot of them, many success stories. But can I tell you something? True leadership is not found in perfect scores. It's not found in just, success stories. It is discovered in the wisdom of both who have learned, who have failed, people who have reviewed, who have, adjusted because they have learned. You are not failing, you are learning. Sometimes you lose and sometimes you learn, okay, from both success and failure. So when you meet a great leader will tell you a lot of a lot of failures, a lot of opportunities to grow that they've experienced in their lives. Okay. So remember this. The first level, which is the foundational level in the scalable leadership framework, is leading yourself. If you don't lead yourself, you cannot lead others. If you don't lead yourself, you cannot lead others. Remember that a great leader knows the way, goes the way, and then shows the way. A great leader is not the one who is only telling everybody where to go, not like a signpost who shows everybody the path. No, you are moving because leadership is all about movement. And you cannot say you are leading if you are not moving. There must be movement. That means you are also moving. You're moving and then you are inviting others to join you on the journey. That is what great leadership is all about. So, if you are a leader out there, or if you are interested in becoming a better person, I want to encourage you to lead yourself first. Lead yourself. See, stop focusing on other people who are not doing what they're supposed to do. The first question is, are you leading you? Are you doing what you're supposed to do? How are you influencing people around you? How are you impacting the people around you? Um, when I mean, do you execute the way you should execute? You know, I usually tell people that knowledge is not power. I used to believe that knowledge is potential power. Okay, execution. Okay, massive execution releases the power from the knowledge that you have. And as a leader, if you have knowledge without execution, you don't have power. You cannot just be the one who is just talking to people and telling people where to go without you going. Okay? That is not leadership. That's not leadership. And that's why it's frustrating when someone is in the leadership position without having leadership growth plan. And there is a difference between professional development and personal development. They are two different things. If you don't prioritize your personal development, it's going to affect your growth professionally because the more, the higher you go, the more leadership you need. Can I say that again? The higher you go, the more leadership skills you need. And leadership is learnable. It's a skill you can learn and you can, sharpen your skill to become a better person. So I'm going to end scalable leadership framework here. I mean, we've talked about the foundational level. In my book, you will see the second level, the third level, the fourth level, and the fifth level. Okay, if you want to learn more about that, I have several videos on YouTube that you can learn from. So I want to also quickly touch base on change leadership model. I developed this model recently, and this is a research-based model. We interviewed and sent out surveys to more than 300 leaders in different areas, leaders in different industries, and in two continents. Okay, we sent all these questions out. 152 people responded. 152 people responded, and we analyzed these responses qualitatively and then quantitatively. And eventually, we got a lot of kudos on this model. So I want to give you some factors in this change leadership model because change is inevitable. Okay, and if you are in leadership, change is inevitable. I did a short video about this on my YouTube about some signs you need to observe in leadership. And those signs are very important for you to know that there is a need for change. It's time for change. It's time to make some adjustment. It's time to do something about something in your organization. Okay? So let me quickly give you some basic factors that can help you today on this model, change leadership model. Let me show you this model. Let me show you this model. This model is one of right. There you go. Okay. Here's the model. Here's the model. And looking at this model, I want you to look at this. Look at the first part is system alert, and we have feedback loop there. Uh, there are some alerts that will show you as a leader that there is a need for change. And those alerts will lead to some gaps. There will be some gaps. For example, it could be communication gap. It could be structure gap. It could be system gap. It could be any forms of gaps. Okay. When those gaps are discovered through your change assessment, then that will help you to understand the problems you have, and those problems are opportunities for growth. Okay, we don't call them problems, we call them opportunities for growth. And then you apply the change leadership system. And in the change leadership system, we have two major factors that are very key: trust and respect. Remember, I've been talking about trust. And then here we have another word, respect. Those two words are very key. They are important factors in everything, in every organization, in every nation, in every community, in every group. Trust and respect are very important. Without trust and respect, forget leadership. Okay? Forget leadership. So I will be doing more about this framework. I'm going to do another live, or maybe in our next class. That will be on the 25th. I'm going to talk more about this change leadership model. All right. So let's get back to our conversation about this change leadership model. But I just want to give you a summary about these two important factors: trust and respect. See, many leaders, through my observation, they struggle with how to lead change without losing team morale or productivity. They wonder, how are we going to lead the change? How are we going to work with the people? How are we going to things are just changing. And remember, change is inevitable. And leading change is one of the most critical aspects of leadership. So let me quickly get into the two factors that I talked about. Number one is internal factors. Number two, external factors. The internal factors that could affect growth and transformation in your organization, they are trust and respect. Those factors are very key: trust and respect. These are internal factors that leaders must understand and embrace. External factors are opportunities and capabilities. What are the opportunities you have out there? And what are the capabilities that your organization can tap into? What are the resources that the organization has? How can you tap into those opportunities? So these two factors can either strengthen or weaken your organization, depending on how you as a leader approach, each of them. So let me quickly run through this I call these key growth and transformation factors in teams and organizations. Okay. um let's just quickly talk about the first one, which is the internal factors. In fact, I call it internal integration or internal disintegration. You can have either of those levels of integrations in the organization. So let's look at the first one, which is the internal factors. How can this, how does trust and respect affect organizations? How do you build trust and respect in a team in an organization where or when people come from different backgrounds and they have different perspectives about things. They have different ideas, they have different philosophies. And how can you work with all of them to build trust and respect? How can you create that kind of culture? How can people embrace your leadership, the vision, when people come together from different backgrounds? Now, here's the thing that I don't want you to forget. Internal factors, trust and respect, both of them, they are all about the culture within an organization. They are all about the culture within an organization. So when you see high performing teams, they are built on this foundation of trust and respect. Every high performing team is built on the foundation of trust and respect. Period. Without trust, teams struggle with communication, they struggle with respect, and they will struggle with unity. So teams struggle with communication, and without respect, teams lack unity. And if you are not careful as a leader, this can lead to conflict, misunderstandings, and lack of unity. And sometimes some leaders will be like, why that people are not working together? Why that people are not, doing A or B? They realize they observe some communication gaps. Why that A is not telling me this? Why that B is not telling me that? And they look into there are a lot of things that will just a lot of pieces that will just be happening across the organization because of this foundational issue, trust and respect. I'm from Africa. Our definition of the African definition of respect sometimes is what people do physically. Like, when somebody bow down, if someone bows down to greet an elderly person, and they will say, oh, that person is respectful. But on the other hand, if the person is someone that is like sanguine, or someone that is a choleric, very strong in character and in attitude, they would say that that person is prideful. Why? Because of the temperament of that person. So they can easily misinterpret people because most people don't know who they are. So let me come back to trust and respect. Low road and middle road leaders, they create high internal disintegration. Remember the internal factors, trust and respect. So there are three types of leaders, three levels. And in fact, John Maxwell released a book on that recently, high road leadership. Now, there are three levels of you know of of leadership. Number one, low road leadership, high road leadership, and then middle road leadership. Both low road and middle road leaders, they create high internal disintegration, and that leads to low external integration. So that means when people are disintegrated, when situations are disintegrated within the organization, that affects the external integration of the organization. The organization will not be able to tap into the opportunities and capabilities. So when leaders don't prioritize trust and respect, when leaders don't prioritize internal structure, when leaders don't prioritize, building high level of trust and respect, it affects internal structure because internal structure weakens. But when trust and respect is high, internal structure is strengthened automatically. So teams feel disconnected, and as a result of that disconnection, they can't collaborate effectively with other teams or other departments or other portfolios and across the organization and across the enterprise because there is a foundational issue, trust and respect. And in contrast to the low and middle low and middle role leaders, if you look at the high role leaders, these people create high internal integration, and that leads to what? To high external integration, because there is a high level of trust and respect. Then the people can work together, they communicate, they collaborate, they share ideas, they respect other people's opinions, and they trust themselves to execute, to get the job done, right? Because there is clarity about the roles and responsibilities across the organization. So they trust themselves. You get yours done, you get yours done, I'll get mine done, and everybody goes to work to get the job done. Because when leaders focus on building trust and respect, see, the entire team, everybody aligns with the vision, with the goal, with the strategy. They become stronger internally, and which naturally leads to better partnerships and performance externally. Let me give an example of Starbucks transformation. Howard did a very great job in 2008. Think about what he did. When he returned as the CEO, the stores, I mean, he himself restored the company in a different way, and he focused on the core values: trust, trusting the customers, and respecting the employees. He focused on the core values to build that trust among the customers and the respect for the employees. That means he was ready to listen. The CEO was ready to listen to the people, to their opinions, in order to create high internal integration, and then to tap into the opportunities externally. So here is the thing. He even closed stores temporarily to retrain staff on providing excellent services. He closed many stores. So this kind of mindset shows that he values the people, he values the employee, he values the staff, and this internal strengthening led to remarkable external success, and that presented itself to the customers as trust. They could see how the people were, how the employees love to work, and that, see, if you look at this, it's a proof that a focus on trust and respect can create resilient team, and that resilient team can thrive in any environment. On the other hand, if you look into the external factors, the opportunities and the capabilities, the pain point here that I've observed in leaders is that leaders, find it difficult in identifying and seizing the right opportunities. Because when there is a problem within the organizations, people cannot see the opportunities. It's like having a family where trust and respect are not part of their core values. If that is not well integrated within the family, the family won't be able to see the opportunities they have outside the family. They won't be able to tap into their capabilities because there is a foundational problem. Okay? So the key to building capabilities that align with market opportunities is you building this trust and respect. This is very key. Think about Nadella, Microsoft, how Microsoft was transformed completely. Nadella focused on external opportunities of cloud computing and built Microsoft capabilities in this area because they had already taken care of the internal factors, having the right systems, having the right structures, built trust, and in fact, they introduced agile methodology. And agile methodology focuses on leadership. It focuses on an ability to adapt, to learn fast, to fail fast, and then to quickly move forward, iterating the processes in creating something big. And that was how they were able to tap into those external opportunities, cloud computing, and they built Microsoft's capability in those areas. Okay, so doing so, if you look at it, Microsoft became one of the biggest players in the cloud industry. Why? Because they have someone built high, you know, internal factors, trust and respect. So, as I round up today, I want to encourage you as a leader. If you have some attributes of low or middle road leaders, I want to encourage you to work on yourself, because why do some leaders struggle to create a team, a cohesive team, while others seem to do it naturally? Why? The difference is clear. It's in the model, the chain leadership model. And if you look at the model, you realize that these leaders, the low road leaders, they ignore trust building and focus only on immediate tasks. Let's do this task. We want to do this work. And they start planning ahead. They start working ahead. Oh, let's work on that. Let's work on that. Oh, let's work on that. And they start assigning work, but without thinking about building trust. And if as a leader, if you only focus on tasks without building trust, that means you are not building internal integration. That means you are building internal disintegration, and that will lead to poor external results eventually. Middle road leaders, they do it, in a different way. It's like getting better, moving away from the low road leadership track, moving into middle road leadership track. So these people, they try to balance task and relationship, but sometimes they may lack what I call commitment to fully integrate their teams. So they want to quickly look for ways to build trust, and then they want to quickly look for ways to balance it with tasks. They build relationships because they want to assign tasks. All right. They get close to people because of what they want to get from them. All right. Can you see, low leaders don't do that. They just focus on tasks. They don't care about relationship. These people, they're trying to balance it. They don't want people to understand that the reason why I'm giving you the task is because I need something from you. So they're always looking for ways to give because they want to get. All right. So for them, they lack commitment to fully integrate their teams, because people can easily feel and perceive that the reason why this relationship exists, the reason why you love me, the reason why you do what you do is because of what you want to get out of the situation or from the person. So they are effective, but often lack the resilience to thrive in complex situations. When the situation becomes complex, they run away from it. They avoid it. They avoid it. They put it aside. They cover situations that is supposed to be that is supposed to uncover, right? Because you cannot build trust if you don't have conversations. Without communication, you cannot build trust. Without adequate, proper communication, you cannot build trust. And without respecting other people's opinions, without agreeing that we have different perspectives because we are different, and you are able to learn from me, and I'm able to learn from you, then the team cannot work together to build something great. I remember one of my quotes. I love this quote. I usually share this in any of my coaching classes, that in leadership, seek guidance from those who have done more than just winning. Let me repeat that. In leadership, seek guidance from those who have done more than just winning. Seek help from those who have stumbled, adapted, and risen again. These are IRO leaders. They are people who have stumbled, they have adapted because they've learned, and then they've risen again and flying high. They are IRO leaders. They build trust, they build relationship, and they're always looking and focusing on the people. They're empowering the people, they are uplifting the people, because they know that when people grow, organizations flourish. When people grow, organizations flourish. Without empowering your people, without growing your people, things cannot grow. I usually say if you don't train them, don't blame them. Let me summarize for today. Number one, I've talked about leadership is influence and everything, everything. So leadership is the foundation of any successful organization. Without leadership, that means the organization cannot grow, no matter what you're building, no matter what you're building, because everything rises and falls on your leadership lead. If, according to John Maxwell, if your leadership lead is at 4, everything, everything that you are leading, whether it's a family, your team, your organization, whatever you are leading, will be under that leadership lead 4. That means nothing will grow beyond 4. So if you want things around you to grow beyond 4, then you need to move to 5 so that things can move to 4, move to 6, things can move to 5, move to 7, things can move to 6. All right. LID, your leadership lead. Nothing grows beyond your leadership lead. And this is why leadership is crucial in every organization. And I've also talked about scalable leadership framework, and I focus on the first level. All right. At the first level, in summary, it's all about leading you. All right, lead yourself. If you don't lead yourself, you cannot lead others effectively, because effective leadership begins with self leadership. And number three, I've talked about change leadership model, and this is one of my best models. All right, I've talked about the research that we did, how we sent questions to many leaders, more than 300 leaders in 2 continents. We tested this framework, in different industries, and we've done the quantitative and the qualitative analysis of all the feedbacks that we got from these leaders leading teams, leading portfolios, leading organizations and enterprises. All right, in different industries. And I am excited about the report that we have right now about this model, because this model is going to change the game completely. All right. I've studied many change leadership models, many of them, more than 17 of them that I've studied, and there are gaps that I've discovered. And if you check my YouTube channel, you will see one of the videos I did on the science leaders must observe, must take note of when it comes to change leadership, when you need to start making some changes, because change is inevitable. So things will change, and you have to always be prepared for change. And in this model, I talked about 2 factors. Please don't forget that as a leader, or if you are just looking for ways to become a better person. Okay, remember this factor. It affects individuals as well. We have internal factors and external factors. And the internal factors, trust and respect. And it could be individuals, team, organizations, it could be government, all right? Trust and respect. Without trust and respect, leadership is cancelled. In fact, it's dead. Okay. And we talked about trust. We talked about trust. It's the foundation of your leadership. Okay, and that's very key. So internal factor, trust and respect, and the external factors, we also talk about the opportunities and the capabilities, and I also share some case studies there. All right, we look into Microsoft and the Starbucks. All right, so think about the low leadership, the low road leadership, the middle road leadership, and the high road leadership. So as a person, I want to encourage you to, to continue striving, to continue growing, to become a high road leader. That is your destination. That should be your goal, to become a high road leader. And as I leave you today, I want to sincerely encourage you. And I want to say a big thank you to you for joining me on this live session that we've had today. I've enjoyed myself, and I hope you have as well. And I believe you've learned something. So if I've learned something, if there is something that you've learned that is significant, that can help you to become a better leader, I want you to drop it in the comment section. Drop it in the comment section. I would love to read from you. And if you have any questions whatsoever about leadership, drop it. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation. How can you transform your life? How can you transform your organization? How can you transform your team? How can you transform your nation? So as we wrap up today, remember that leadership is not just about having influence, it's about using that influence to create positive change, because your influence could be negative. Using your influence to create positive change, both within and without your organization. All right. Addressing all these common leadership pains that I've talked about, if you can look into them to address all of them, all these pain points, trust me, they will help you to become better, to become stronger, okay, and to become more effective leader. And if you are leading a team today, remember and always remember that everyone deserves to be led well. And that's why you have to become a better leader. Because if you don't become a better leader, if you don't have your own personal growth plan, which is different from your professional growth plan, your professional growth plan is different from your personal growth plan. Because the higher you go in life, the more leadership you need. Can I repeat that? The higher you go in life, in your business, in your personal calling, your personal career, or whatever that you have chosen that you do today in that organization, okay, your family, the higher you go, the more leadership skills you need. Okay, so if you are moving to next levels, maybe you have been an individual contributors for years. Now you've been promoted to become a manager. Trust me, you've been promoted because professionally you are skilled in some areas and they have seen your excellent work, and now they put you to another level. Now you are now in charge of a group of people as a manager. You need leadership skills. All right. And that when you move from that level, from being a manager to becoming a director, then you need more leadership skills. The higher you go, the more leadership you need. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really, really appreciate you. And I look forward to diving, deeper into all these topics that we've talked about today in my upcoming book, Lead and Scale. Watch out for this book. It's going to be released early next year. Watch out for it. It's going to transform organizations. It's going to transform lives. It's going to transform situations. So if you're ready to take your leadership to the next level, stay tuned for more updates. I will be sharing more updates about this. And I want to quickly drop, let me drop some links here. If you want to transform anything across the organization, I'm dropping this. Just click the link and you know click any of the links and reach out to us. We will be glad to support you and your growth. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful, wonderful time. Have a wonderful evening if you are in Africa or Europe. Have a wonderful afternoon if you are in the United States. Bye for now.